All right, guys, that's where it is. Bag 4. Let's do this, right?
Raygun's Legos, bricks and toys.
All right, everybody. So, hey, bag 4. So, we should be able to finish this up this week, right? This is the Sunflower House. This is by Xbert. And actually, Monster Bricks. Hey, Monster, I'm giving you a shout out. And if you want to follow Monster Bricks channel, put the link right up there. Monster. Hey, Monster Bricks does a lot of really great reviews. I'd love to partner with Monster, honestly. Monster Bricks is great. This is definitely one of those where he was like, hey, I kind of wondered about them. I'm kind of glad to see you're putting these things together. So yeah, this is these sorts of things. They're for the AFOL community. AFOL being adult fans of Legos. They're not Legos, they're Fuegos, as some people say. So fake Legos, but they are standard size bricks. They do work with all the Lego sets. We're on bag 4. We're only going to do bag 4 today. But as we're building, we'll be able to kind of chat about it, talk about it, see what the parts are, see, are we struggling with anything, that sort of stuff. Because again, the whole purpose of this is that there are lots of companies that are, they use standard bricks. They're not Lego. They're not name brand, but some can be pretty decent and some can be very iffy. And I'm hoping that all these are kind of meeting you, the adult fans of Legos, that are budgeted, so that way we become better budgeted brick builders, which is kind of my goal in this. I love toys as it is. Got an Aspie brain, so like toy engineering, toy stuff, that is amazing for me. So any chance I get to just sit here and make a bunch of Legos, or make toys, or play with toys, or move them around, or do toy photography or paintings, whatever I can, I enjoy it. So with that being said, I think I've talked your ear off enough. Let's do some builds. So we're on bag 4, and much like, let's see, at 5, 4 is right there. So much like, I believe it was the Kaye blocks where everything for bag 1 was in one bag, 2, etc. BB Tiller Bricks was the same way. They had that hardware store, an amazing build. So definitely should pick one up. I've got the link. I think the link for the Tiller Bricks is down in my store. I also have a link for this and other things that I've built on the channel. Definitely go check those things out. We're gonna do big bricks and stuff over here on this side. I'm gonna bring it up just a little bit. You can still see the Kaye house and the Sweet Pea house here. That is okay. We'll do small stuff over there. Smalls, and I got the small stuff, and then like the electrical components over there. Plates, blocks, bigger pieces, that'll all go over here. I'm going to put that in the realm of small, realm of large. So we do have a lot of plates here. Now the plates, my guess is because we're building this whole apartment portion up here, and I don't think it's going to be like a 2-scale apartment in that you're going to have bathrooms and all that. That was one of the things I did enjoy about the hardware store build by Balagil or BB Tiller Bricks, was the company I was working for. And yes, I paid for it, did the review, and they ended up paying me back for it. So I got the set for free, but it was a honest review because they were like, hey, we want absolute honesty in it. And so when I went in to build it, I built it with honesty and talked about things that would change, recorded all that, and sent all that to them, because I was like, listen, if you're going to continue, you're going to do these designs, you're going to do these things, these are key things you need to fix. So not only was I doing it as a reviewer, I was doing it as a seasoned to build veteran, and hopefully that met them and they took a lot of that to heart. The few things that you should keep in mind with all these companies is that, yeah, they're companies, yeah, they're going to do their own thing, they're going to kind of get their own thing, but they do quite often listen to people that use their products, fans, that sort of thing, and they do try and sometimes want to change, and especially if they're not the big name brand Super L there, they definitely are looking and listening for their constituents to find out, hey, are these things that we can do? Is this something that is worthwhile, etc. So I think that's a key thing to keep in mind, is that they're listening, they're watching, and they're wanting to do better in most instances. Now, I know I had some, I thought I had a pair of pliers up here. Whoops. You know what? I'll have to do the counts with. Oh man. Okay, well, I'll have to do it with this, I guess. So I had mentioned in a video yesterday about the Lumabrix crossover with, was it Blade Runner 2049? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and yeah. And I had some people that commented on that video, and they're like, hey, why would you, basically put all this money, if you're not getting the Neon City sets, why would you spend extra on this set? Well, there's multiple things. So there is a such a thing as a placement of space. I do have a very limited space, and especially since I have been building Lumabrix for a while. So you've got to understand, with Lumabrix, I'm like 35 sets in. I have been building with them for a very long time. At this point, over a year, probably a little bit longer. I've got other sets from other companies, Mold King, Kai, Falagil, of course Lego, Slubon. Oh man, like Die-Star. Like, there's a lot of sets, and these things take up a lot of room. So for me, I've got backlogs and all sorts of things. So, when I talk about not being able to afford, their larger Neon City sets, that is a part of it. When you have a set like the Izakaya, I do want to get. I eventually will get it, but I'm kind of have to wait. Like, I'm budgeted. I can spend a little bit of money here and there, but I can't like pull this money out and save it and be like, hey, now I've got enough, because I have content I gotta make. I got stuff I've got to do. So for me, dropping $130 or $169 on a set, well, that's going to turn the eyes of the missus to a lot of things that I do here. And that becomes a question of, how much money are we spending? How much is going on? How much how much of our savings is going into this? How much is going into this, etc., etc., etc. And the thing is that personally, I try not to waste a lot of money, because we need it. I've got a family, I've got all this other stuff, and so for me, not wasting this money, I'm going to do it. If there's a sale, or they want to send me something, this or that, sure. But Lumi has only sent me one set. That was a long time ago when I first got into the affiliate program. So for me, it was like, hey, I got in the affiliate program. I every month, and we have stuff that we have to do. Like, we have surveys we have to do. We have a lot of extra legwork that goes into the process of being an affiliate. And my thing is that, more than anything, I'm a small channel, so I don't have the numbers that everybody else does. So I'm not getting lots of free sets and lots of things where it's like I make a lot of money doing this. I virtually make almost no money doing this, but I do it because A, I enjoy it, and B, I want to help out the AVOL community with, news, things that are going on, especially things that are kind of non-Lego, because, we don't always get that option. Like, not everyone's on the same newsletter that I'm on, so some people miss things like K Spinner from Blade Runner. So that's the first thing. Second thing is this. There was a comment saying that there was a sequel that nobody liked. And I want to kind of stop everyone there and say, unpopular opinion, I happen to like that sequel quite a bit. This is the one instance where seeing Harrison Ford as kind of a bittered, disgruntled old man made sense. And if you follow his character, if you follow his character in the movie from the theatrical, director, even final cut, you can kind of see that, yeah, he's already a bit of a bitter old person as it is, and so the situation just makes him more bitter. And there are some creative licenses that happen between the book and the movie, right? So there's quite a bit of things that are different. And Deckard in the book is just a little bit different than Deckard in the movie. Rick, I guess you could say. But it makes sense, his character and what he does in 2049. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It makes sense. And actually, there's quite a bit of 2049 that actually plays back into the book, and even parts of the story that deal with off-world colonies, things like that. They are showing a lot of that stuff. And I was very appreciative of a lot of the things that they did. Now, the movie is slow, and in the end, the main person of the film, the one that the film, this person that they are tracking down and looking for and doing all this, is not exactly, I guess, what everybody was wanting. And what I find important about that is that they did that on purpose. And not only did they do it on purpose, they did it on purpose to make you kind of, I guess, like, fall in love with a character, like wholeheartedly fall for this character, be so involved in Kay and what he was doing. And you were supposed to follow in Kay's footsteps the way that he was falling into his own mind about what was going on, and envisioning himself as this, and this. And it turned out that was not the case at all. And I appreciate that, because again, the whole point of the film and the whole point of a lot of Philip K. Dick's original writings, which, by the way, if you don't know, Deckard's gun, I'm trying to remember the call number for it, but it has a name in it, like a set of initials called PDK. And the PDK series handgun, the PDK actually comes from the original author of the book, Duranto's Dream of Electric Sheep, Philip K. Dick, or PKD, that's it, Philip K. Dick, and that's where the call sign comes from. So they're very, apparent about their source material, but they don't follow it to a T. That's okay. There is some stand apart between Blade Runner and Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I'm very aware of that. But in the situation with what was going on with Deckard in the sequel, it makes sense what he does and how he's reacting towards things and kind of what's at stake. And I wholeheartedly appreciated a lot of what they did. And I remember watching it, and I felt like I could be, I was like, well, of course, they didn't focus on Kay being this, and this, but after going back and thinking about analyzing it, it makes sense on what happened and why things are a certain way. Which, again, I appreciate the film. Kay had a really good, decent, almost hero death. Ryan Gosling, I think, did an amazing job. I find him as an amazing actor as it is. And yeah, I really enjoyed the film. So, I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that there were some comments that felt like they're not harshing the mellow, but kind of harshing the fact that I was excited about this Lumabrick set. And yeah, listen, I'm excited about the Lumabrick set. You don't have to be. Do I think that Lumabricks is going to now license everything and everything's going to shoot up in price? I'd hope not. Will I get this set? Yeah, I'll end up getting the set. But it doesn't mean that every single thing that they do, I'm going to be like, oh, I got to buy it. Because I don't buy everything that Lumabricks puts out anyway. I know there are some absolute purists that get every single Lumabrick set, and I mean, hey, if you can afford that and that's like your jam, by all means, go at it, enjoy it. But I can't afford all that, so I have to work at a budget on things. So for me, if there's a company that's like, hey, we want to work with you and we'll give you a set to review, I'm like, yes. If there's someone that's like, I want to send you a set because we're buddies, I'll be like, sure. I'm not going to turn that down. But I'm also not going to let it sway my honest opinion about things either. And most of the time when I buy sets, I'm buying them for the cheap because it's some company getting rid of them, or they're running a promotion, or they're doing something that, it's either brand new and no one knows what it is, or it's been poorly reviewed over time and I get it and I'm going to be checking it out, seeing if it's any good or not. So yeah, that's kind of the way it goes. Now, that's enough. That's really all I gotta say about that one. And yes, in the end, I'm gonna get it. Now, one person had commented, I said, well, what if, I can't believe you would be behind this. It's like you can afford, or you can afford to buy this set, but you can't afford to buy their actual cyberpunk sets. Okay, so let's go ahead and get some things out of the way. For those individuals, listen, you're probably new to the channel. I get it, and that's okay. I'm trying not to be pedantic, and pedantic being that term called know-it-all, because that's how my brain works. That's often where I go to, but I'm trying to be more, I guess, like, open with the idea that, yes, I am willing to get it. That doesn't mean that I haven't bought a bunch of other sets. As a matter of fact, for the cyberpunk sets, I've got quite a few of them. Well, I say that. I've got the police car, I've got the urban convoy, I've got the vehicles, and some of that has to do with space, but some of it is also like the apartments at one point were $99. And it was like I could get these apartments that were reviewed okay, or I could get the skate shop. So I chose the skate shop. I love the skate shop. To me, the skate shop is a phenomenal build. I absolutely love that set so much. But after that, set-wise, expense-wise, I have not been able to get like a lot of their highly expensive sets. So, I see people that are like, yeah, I got the brand new, Couture Club thing. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's a cool looking set. I'd love to get it. And I will apply for all their freebies here and there, and I will do as much as I can content wise, and I do fall behind quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I got a survey I've got to turn in here pretty soon. But, for the most part, like, do I want that set? Yeah. But it's $179. And that would be my budget and some for the month. And that's where I'm getting like small sets, other things, pieces and parts from mocks, action figures. That means if I got that, I'd be canceling my G.I. Joe Classified. I would not be able to get any Masterverse stuff. I would not be getting any small polybag sets to work with. So there kind of has to be that around a reason of, yeah, I mean, I could, in theory, just buy them all over time, but then, it's like I'd be going in debt for what? Or I wouldn't be able to buy this, or I wouldn't be able to do things like, take my family on vacation, or, afford my medical stuff. So there has to be some working logic in some of this. And to be quite honest, to answer that question, yeah, I'm willing to get a set if it's going to be in the $50 range versus a whole bunch of sets in the $120 range. And that was something when I did surveys with Lumabricks on, especially for their Cyberpunk. I was like, I love the Cyberpunk series a lot. But at this point, there are times when I'm going over to AliExpress and I'm getting some of the old Cool Bricks sets because I can spend $20 there and get a street corner set, $20-$30 tops, and I got a really good build. And light kits suck on it, but you've got figures that have, they're in proportions with Lego, and they have posable rotating shoulders. I'm getting that for like $20, and I can't afford your city sets because you have everything's in this alpha range, but you don't have beta and gamma. You've got this alpha, and then you've got a couple delta vehicles, and that's it. There's nothing in between. And so with that, I think that might be some of the change that they're wanting to instill, is looking at, hey, what are things that we can do in order to bring more people in? We've got these cool Cyberpunk sets, and don't get me wrong, the sets are beautiful. They're amazing. I would absolutely love to have those sets. I would build every single one of them live. I would enjoy it. I would revel in the design of them because I think that they are just beautiful. But in the end, A, I have nowhere to put them, and B, can't afford them. And I think that that's kind of a topic, a thing that needs to be discussed when, when some people are like, hey, why don't you just go and buy the sets? It's like, I can't afford all those sets. It was one of those, another friend of mine, PJ, he was building, he's got a whole rental thing where he rents sets. And so you rent a set, you put it together, you take it apart, you send it back, sort of thing. And it's like a monthly subscription and all that. Really cool idea. And I was intrigued. I was like, yeah, tell me about it. How much, like, what's the cost and all that. And I found out the cost, and I was like, there's no way. At that point, it's like, I would just buy a set. But then I'm left with that part of, well, what do I do with it? And a lot of the sets, there were some sets that I had built that I tried to sell off, and unless it's Lego, you can't really sell it off. So I don't know, kind of at an impasse. It's like I want to add sets. A lot of the sets I add these days are a little bit smaller. So for me, Blade Runner 2049 spinner, I love the iconic ship as it is. Like the spinner car is just amazing, and if I could do that, and get a cool K figure and not have to spend, over $50. To me, that's a win-win. I think that's a key thing. Did you hear what I said? Not over $50. So if they start pricing it and they're like, hey, it's going to be $70 for this set, you're going to see a lot of people walking away. And that's just an honesty right there. And I think that's something that if they are, if they're serious about this collab, and if they're serious about doing this, and they're serious about punching it up, because we do have another Blade Runner movie, I think, on the way. I think that they need to continue with their cyberpunk line. The Neon City stuff is great. I think that people still definitely want to continue getting those sets. I don't think that that's something that they should end. That's an immediate. If they try to end that, you're going to be putting a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. First thing. Second thing is that, there is kind of a bit of a difference between that Neon City. Yeah, there's some aspects of the cyberpunk that really kind of lend into Blade Runner, and Blade Runner is in its way cyberpunk. However, it does become a bit more of what I like to call that tech noir, dystopian, detective sort of thing. Cyberpunk itself, I've always viewed with the augmentation, the idea of the kind of dystopian future of where man and machine meet and work together. Blade Runner, yeah, it's dystopian, yeah, it's cyberpunk-ish for sure, but there is a bit of a difference in it, in that it does feel more tech noir, because you have to look at what the replicants are. In the source material they were called Andes because they were considered androids, but both in the book and even at the beginning of the film Blade Runner, it talks about how the androids or the replicants are near to human. They're essentially human. They're just bioengineered. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 right there. So, with that being said, they are essentially human. They're not machines. And so I think there has to be some of that difference between them. There's no one is augmented in the way that you think of as like Johnny Mnemonic, characters like that. It is very much just replicants and where their place. A lot of the movie and a lot of the storytelling have to do with the idea of what are humans, and what are the implications of freedom with humans, who should be given more life and not. So with a lot of that said, I kind of always viewed Blade Runner cyberpunk, but kind of on the outside more of a tech noir, which is also the name of the dance place in Terminator. Oh man. And then Terminator, of course, also is Terminator. I think it's cyberpunk, but it's also kind of tech noir too. I don't know. They all kind of merge together at points. Well, I look at this. Hey, if you're still watching this and you're still listening to this old man rant on and ramble, why don't you go ahead and give a subscribe to the channel if you want to. Like this video, that sort of thing. Get something out of the shop. Help the channel grow. Share it with your friend. The usual. The usual. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3. We got these brackets. We got 1x2s by 1x2 brackets. Got 4 of them. That's interesting. I go from 127 to 128. Okay, I see what they're doing. Never mind. About to say, wait a second. I was counting studs, but I wasn't counting pieces. So there's some of that where I was like, wait a second. I'm something's off. It doesn't make sense, and I realized what it was. I'm doing stud counts and not actual part counts right now. And 1, 2, and 3. I've got my plans solidified, so I've looked at the my plans for my parking garage, which is a Cyberpunk set, or parking platform. I've got it put together, got the booklet made. It looks like everything is perfect. I am looking at price for downloads, things like that, and making sure that I get it copywritten and all that stuff taken care of, and I will be ready to send this project out to the world so you guys can get it. When I do, I will definitely post some things about it. I am super proud of this build. I think it's a very cool one, and I'm hoping that once it's done, I put it out there, I'm hoping that you all will enjoy it as well. Like I said, I tried to make it to where counts for parts and stuff, if you were to get them on Rebrickable, it wouldn't cost you a lot. I think I got it at about, cost wise, if you were to order the parts, not the PDF of the book, but if you were just to order the parts from Rebrickable, I think it's going to be like, maybe it's like $46 to like $57, really not that much. And I just tried to make sure that piece count was not too high, that the well, it's like 200, no, it might be, I can't remember what the count is, but it's kind of up there. But I went and I switched things in order to make things more cost effective. There's a couple pieces that's like I just couldn't get around. They're a little bit more, they're like 75 cents apart instead of just the normal, 10 to 9 cents. Like I said, I tried to keep costs down so that way I could still deliver a really good build for anybody that wants it, and it wouldn't kill somebody to make it. So I've been finalizing that, getting that finished and ready to send out. So when it happens and I'm able to share it with you all, I can't wait to hear what everyone says about it. So, and it's based off of a design that I actually made. All right, so here we go. I missed a couple pieces, a couple steps back here, so I'm gonna go ahead and put them on now. Boom and boom. So this is going to be going out a little bit. So right now we got windows in, we got this door. That door is loose. I'm not for some reason I'm not understanding when we get these doors that are just absolutely loose. That is starting to wear on me in such a bad way. Let's try this one. It's like I like the windows and doors to be a little bit tighter. And that was a problem that I had with the Kaye blocks too, if you remember. Like the windows are just so flappy, and they just flap around and they're all over the place. It's not as tight as I'd want it to be. Okay, let's see. So we got these 4, they're going right here on the end. Let's take a look. 1. I'm going to have to straighten them up too. 2. Now, these tan ones, clutch power in them feels a little tight. To be quite honest, that's not always like my favorite when the clutch is so tight it's hard to feel anything, or you're cutting your fingers trying to put the stuff together. But it is tight. I will go ahead and say that. All right. And that goes right here on the end. 3 steps out. And it looks like we've got some clear. We're doing some little window pieces. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 of these 1x1 in translucents. You almost didn't see it. You know why? Because they're clear. Can't see them. Usually when I hear about clear stuff, it makes me think about the, what was it, the translucent aluminum. That was a thing in Star Trek, The Voyage Home. And I remember being just like, so like, I was like, wow, that's kind of a crazy cool idea. And now, these days, there's scientists that are starting to look at the idea that, well, the way that parts of things are structured would indicate how light passes through it or not. And one of the prime examples is looking at how sand essentially becomes glass, right? Sand that's not necessarily transparent, and all of a sudden becoming transparent. It's kind of cool. Alright, so 1, 2, and one more right here. Let's grab our brick, smash those down, make sure they're nice and tight, and even, boom. And this is going to be going right here. So kind of interesting that we're doing, I guess, this. That is, I mean, they're like little, they're like little tile, building tiles. Just okay. We got 1, 2 of these windows, 2 more window panes. I'll pop a window in here. Pop a window in there. Boom, boom. Drop that in there. Okay. It's almost like a little office space, which is kind of cool. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point. Is that's probably some sort of like meeting room. Probably down the road, if I take this and I insert it in the city, and I'll probably take the bulky base apart. So that was something that I think Monster was saying. I was like, that base is very bulky, and I'm like, yes, it is incredibly large in kind of a strange way. It's too large, but I'll probably bring that down, and then some of the downstairs flower shop, I'd love to see that with like a register sort of thing, so it feels more like a store, like an actual like flower shop / boutique. Alright, so we got one more door. It's also turning in. So both of these doors are turning in because of where they are at. This one, however, is turning in inside this way. Okay, so we're going to pop that window in. I'm going to put that here, and that should open that way. However, much like the one downstairs with the other flower, the door does not want to open all the way because there is a flower in the way. That has become a bit of a pet peeve of mine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these seats out. And guess what? I'm going to mod it. I'm not going to build exactly as they have planned here. I'm going to push this seat all the way down here. And then I'm going to take this plant. Now, I'm going to close the door there. We're going to set that in place right there, so that way that door will open a little bit more with it being kind of in that space. So otherwise, none of the figures can get in and out if that door is cut off by this plant. So that should make things a little bit easier. Okay. Now, with that, we are starting to build the rest of our roofing. So we got a 1x8, we got a modified 1x4, and then a 1x2 right there. So let's take a look. Modified 1x4 is going down here on the end. Now they're modified, so it's basically a 1x4 tile with a couple studs. that's going to limit the amount of clutch studs on there that will allow you to put another roof on, but also make it to where it doesn't fall off, but you can take it off whenever you need to. And that's a key thing in this, is that you don't want to overdo the amount of studs that you get, because you can add too many and then never be able to remove the roof, which I've seen before. There's a couple of sets I put together where it was like, hey, you can remove the roof. And I'm like, and when you do, you're taking 5 walls with you, because of the way that the clutch is set up. It's not easily removable. It has to be kind of that thing where it's easy. It has to be where it's easy to remove, but also holds tight when you put it down. And Lumabricks is kind of the king at that when it comes to that sort of detail. But there are a few companies that are starting to pick up and take the reins, and they're doing pretty good. Not all of them are like absolute just beautiful bomb out shells of amazing builds, but there are some that are doing pretty okay. I've also started to see, and this kind of shows the popularity of Lumabricks right now, I've also started to see the push for some of these proprietary bricks that allow for wiring to go through your build. And that's been interesting, seeing Lumabricks now kind of get some of their pieces and parts pulled and taken, and I have a feeling there's going to be some legal battles here pretty soon. It's interesting. I'm definitely not one, like, if I'd have known that, that some of these parts were taken and they were stolen, I definitely would not buy from that company again. But as of right now, I don't even know like what the licensing deal is for Lumabricks with their especially proprietary bricks, if it's theirs or if that's just something that they utilize, and that's something that's available to a lot of companies. So I don't know. Okay, there we go. We got this part set up. Press all this down, make sure it's clutched nicely. This is, I guess it goes out like this. Kind of interesting that it's like hanging off the end over here, unless, oh, I see. It does line up, but there is a bit of a gap where it sits out kind of over the edge there, which makes sense. So the plants kind of go up to there and the AC's there. They played that part of the design smart. That looks nice. Actually looks very nice. I'm very, very happy with this set so far. Alright, so we're up here, now we're down here. So we've got another plant, 2, 3. We've got our little flower pieces that are going to go on here. 1, 2, and 3. Got a message from one of the, I follow him on TikTok. He goes by Xbert. I got a message from him, asking about whether I was doing a live. My plan is to be on doing a live this Saturday. I do plan on getting up and getting stuff out there. I think last Saturday was it's been a couple weird Saturdays here lately, and so I have not been up and at it quite like I wanted to. But my goal, hopefully, is to be on live, and I've got some they're like some cheapy sort of TikTok brick sets. There's like a police station, and then there's a fire station. I'll build one of them at one point and one another time. They're nothing that it's like, they're not too, like, nothing I'd really write home about. I think for me, I'll build them, review them, look at them in that sort of way, but then it's definitely going to end up being a it's definitely going to end up being one of those where it's like I will have a whole I'll end up taking the whole thing apart. Sorry, there was someone knocking on the door. Hello. I'm currently recording. Never fails. So yeah, it'll be one of those where I will I'll build probably one of those sets on there and kind of look at it. Kind of chintzy sets, really not a lot to it, but it might give us some good parts, and maybe I can mock up something else down the road that'll be probably better use for those particular parts and pieces, because I don't know, man. Looking at it, they look definitely meant for the kids. Sorry, I'm trying not to bite all the pieces and parts, but my home right now, everything about my world is being highly dysregulated. So I'm like, so depending, I might have to stop this early, but we'll see. We shall see. Next portions of this is actually just building like the flower sign, things like that. These flowers, however, I'm going to go ahead and state this. These flowers are truly becoming the bane of my existence. And the reason why I'm saying that is that they're not giving us enough of a leadway on these. So like they're not saying, hey, turn the tallest flower petal towards you here. Now those were key things that when I was working on my design, I decided, hey, these are things that have to be stated and done, because otherwise if my build is going to frustrate people, it's not going to feel very very good. I'm not going to feel like a decent person. So I think with that, I'm like, I've got to make sure that I am keeping things working the right way. Alright, so we got this plant here. So one of these, we got one of these leaves here. We need two of them. And then a flower. So we got one pink flower. So this is going to continue the plant on the front. Boom. And then boom. And boom. Just like that. And that's supposed to fit right up here on the side. So let's take this. We're going to kind of go right up over here and look at it right in there. That's going to fit right in here. Boom. Just like that. So that's kind of where we're at. Oh, this camera. Okay. So that's going to fit into there. And then we're going to continue the pipe structure up there. And then we'll do the AC unit, and then I won't do the sunflower yet. I probably need to find out what's going on out there, because even though I say, hey, I'm recording, I'm gonna record, I have had knocking on the door. So that is telling me that I need to go take care of something that probably could wait, but we're gonna go and take care of it now. Make sure that everybody's good and safe. And here's the thing, being the dad, that's my duty. I gotta go do that. So I think what I'm gonna do is, after I finish the AC unit portion of this, get it on, I'm probably gonna be heading out, so that way I can go take care of business and get everyone settled. All right, so last little bits and pieces and parts. We're going to go right here. We've got 3x3, 2x3, and then this 2x2 going right up here. There's this one here. Actually, a pretty good way of building the AC unit. There's one part that I would change down the road, but all in all, kind of see it there. It's a pretty cool build. We do need our little 1x1 that goes there, and then we need 1, 2, 3, 4. So this has one unit going there, 2, 3, and 4. And then we should have a sticker that goes there for the fan portion. So we'll go ahead and grab that. Boom. Fan's going to go right up here, so let's kind of line it up. Okay, that's going to go right up on here. Okay, and then this is going to be fitting over here on this side. So, oi, camera. I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm making everyone like sick right now. They're like, what are you doing? This camera, it gets loose for some reason. Okay, so this is supposed to be fitting right up here on this side. Going to go these bottom studs in, and looks like we're going to be going over to this side right here. Oh, it looks like one up right there. So we've got an AC unit there. We've got one on the other side right there, and then last little bits, just the plant stuff. And yeah, that'll be it. So listen, I mean, so far that's pretty good looking. So we've got all that before. We've got a flower thing that's going here. We've got plants that are going on the other side over here that we'll take care of. So like right there is where these plants would go. They'd meet up with that. On this back side, we've got, of course, the stairs that go up into this door. I'm sure we'll have something right there. And that door opens up, and you've got this nice little seating area with a little TV in there and lots of studs for moving things. I like how they put these shelves together. So there's some pretty decent stuff about this build. I'm liking it. So yeah. Now I still haven't hooked up that wire because I'm still trying to figure out where I want that wire to sit in order for it to feel correct. But man, so far, that's a good looking set. This will be a lot of fun. Hey, listen, that's all I'm going to do today. I'm going to go check up on them, do my dad duty, and that sounds gross, to figure out what I can do to help them. So listen, I'm going to kind of race through it. If you haven't subscribed, you should subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You'll be alerted if anything comes from me to you. Like this video, helps you to know what you like what I'm making, comment, that sort of stuff. Hey, you want to get this set, I got it down in the shop. Those sorts of things, they really do help out. Want to share this over with someone, share it out. Hey, you want to go check out Monster Bricks channel, go check it out. It is an awesome channel. That's all I got. Listen, be good to each other, stay safe, that sort of stuff. Know that I love you, but Jesus loves you more. Nothing you can do about it. Good luck with the build. Happy brick hunting.